You walked in for three things: milk, bread, something for dinner. You walked out with two full bags, a receipt you didn't want to read, and one quiet thought. How did that happen again? You're not unusual. Studies of real shoppers keep landing on the same uncomfortable number. More than half of everything in that cart was never on a list. Half. Decided inside the store. Not before you walked in. And it's not an accident. It happened because it was built to happen. Every step of that trip was designed. Where you turned. What you saw first. How long you stayed. What ended up in the cart. You didn't walk into a store. You walked into a machine, built by people who study exactly how a human brain decides to buy, and engineer a building around the answer. So that weak willpower you blame yourself for? It was never a fair fight. One tired person against 100 years of research, and a floor plan measured to the centimeter. Here's what I'm going to do. I'll walk you through that machine, one trap at a time, in the order it hits you, the front door to the checkout line. By the end, you won't be able to unsee any of it. Let's walk in. Watch what they do to you before you've even picked up a basket. The first trap is at the door, and it works on everyone, every single time. Step inside, and for the first few meters, nothing to buy. A wide, open space, a stack of carts, a community board, self-checkouts off to one side. Retailers have a name for this empty space, the decompression zone, because you arrived with the outside world still in your head. Traffic, your phone. In that state, you move fast and you don't really see. A product placed here would be invisible. You'd blow right past it. So they give you a few meters of nothing, on purpose, to slow you down and switch you into shopping mode. Think about what that costs them. The entrance is the most expensive ground in the building, and they'd rather leave it empty than let you walk through it still moving too fast. They're not wasting that space, they're preparing you, and the second you slow down, they hit you with the flowers. Right past the entrance, in almost every supermarket on Earth, flowers and fresh produce. Bright colors, misted greens, that clean, wet smell. And it makes no sense. Flowers are fragile, they don't last, and almost nobody drives to a grocery store for a bouquet. So why are they the first thing you see? Because they're not selling you flowers, they're setting your mood. Color and freshness and that produce smell make you feel good, and make the whole store feel wholesome, healthy, natural. A person who feels good, who feels like they're somewhere clean and healthy, lets their guard down. And a guard that's down spends. You've been softened, and you haven't touched a thing you came for. In fact, notice what still hasn't happened. You don't have your milk. Where is it? You came in for milk. It's at the very back. It is always at the very back. And not because the fridges have to go there. They could put milk anywhere. It's at the back because almost everyone needs it, and that makes it perfect bait. The average supermarket carries around 30,000 products, and the route to your milk is designed to march you past as many of them as it can. Past the bakery, past the snacks, past hundreds of things you never planned to buy, but now that you've seen them, might. It's the oldest trick in the building, and it lands every time. Your needs get scattered to the far corners. Milk, eggs, bread, so the walk to them drags you past a wall of wants. The path itself is the trap, and you're already halfway down it. Now look at what you're pushing, because that's rigged too. That cart in your hands has quietly grown. Over the years, shopping carts got bigger, a lot bigger, and not because a single shopper ever asked for more room. When one marketing consultant simply doubled the size of the carts in a store, shoppers bought about 40% more. Because a half-empty cart feels like an unfinished job. Your brain reads all that empty space as one nagging sentence. I don't have enough yet. So you keep filling it. The container sets the target. Make it bigger, and a person fills it just to feel done. That's why there are almost never small carts by the door, and why the baskets are hidden away. A basket says, just a few things. They don't want that. They want you steering a big empty box that keeps whispering, there's still room. And now that they've got you pushing more, they get to decide what you reach for. That's the shelf's whole job. Pick any aisle. Look at it as a grid. Where each product sits on that grid is not random. It's a plan. Retailers even have a word for it. A planogram. The single most valuable strip of that grid is the shelf at adult eye level. They call it the strike zone. Products there sell the most, for the dumbest reason. You see them first, and reaching them costs nothing. So who earns the strike zone? Not the cheapest option, not the best value. The item the store makes the most money on. The premium brand. The one that paid to be there. The cheaper, better products get exiled to the top shelf, where you stretch, or the bottom, where you crouch. Eye level is buy level. And there's a second strike zone you'd never guess. About a meter off the floor. right at the eye level of a child sitting in a cart. That's where the cereal with the cartoon lives. The toys, the candy. They're not aiming at you down there. They're aiming at the small person you brought, who is now pointing. And the next trick doesn't hide the price at all. It shows you one so low it looks like a mistake. Some prices in here look like gifts. A whole rotisserie chicken for less than the raw ingredients. Milk below what the store paid. A staple priced so low it barely makes sense. These have a name, loss leaders. And the store really is losing money on them, on purpose. Because the cheap chicken isn't the product. You are the product. That impossible price exists to pull you through the door, and the entire rest of the store, every full-price thing you pass on the way to it and back, is where they win it back and more. You came for the deal. You'll leave having paid for the building. You feel like you scored. That feeling is the design. And while you're standing there feeling clever, something else is already working on you. Something you're not even using to shop. Listen. Stop for a second and listen to the store. That music is slow, slower than the song it's based on, and it's not for your enjoyment. In a now famous study, a researcher played slow music in a supermarket on some days and fast music on others, and changed nothing else. On the slow music days, shoppers moved slower, stayed longer, and spending rose by nearly 40%. Because time is the whole game. The longer you're inside, the more you see, the more you buy. So everything is tuned to keep you here. The music drags, the aisles run long. And have you noticed? No windows, no clocks, not one. That's not laziness. It's the exact trick a casino uses. Cut you off from the outside world, and from any sense of how long you've been inside, and you drift, you linger, you spend. You've been in here longer than you think. And now that you're moving slow, the price tags go to work. Because even the numbers are engineered. Almost nothing ends in a round figure. It's $2.99, never 3.0s. You know it's basically $3. But your eye reads left to right and locks onto the first digit, the 2, and files it under 2 something, cheaper than it is. This trick is so old and so effective, it's on nearly every tag in the store, and it still works on all of us. Then there's the anchor. A sign screams 10 for $10. You don't need 10, but 10 is now stuck in your head as the right amount, and you'll grab 5 or 6 when you'd have grabbed 2. Or a sign that says, limit 4 per customer, which sounds like a restriction, but is really an instruction. It plants the idea that 4 is normal, that you might miss out. Nobody was going to buy 4 cans of soup, now 3 feel reasonable. None of it is a lie, exactly. It's your own brain's shortcuts, turned around and pointed back at you. And you think you're done. You're about to walk straight into the last trap. You've got everything now. You're heading for the exit. You think the machine is done with you. It saved the best trap for the very end. The checkout line is the most deliberately designed spot in the store. They want a small wait there. A slow line is not an accident. Because a bored brain, standing still with its arms full, is the most impulsive brain there is. And what's within arm's reach while you wait? Chocolate, gum, a cold drink, magazines. Small, cheap, pure impulse things you'd never cross an aisle to find. But here they are, at hand height. At the exact moment, your willpower is spent, and your guard is gone. It's the last squeeze. And down at kid height again. The candy. One final ask. Aimed at the small person. At the moment you just want to leave. You pay. You walk out. 2 full bags. 3 things on the list. And here's the part I really want you to sit with. Everything I just described. The empty entrance, the flowers, the milk in the back, the growing cart, the strike zone, the loss leaders, the slow music, the missing clocks, the 99-cent prices, the checkout candy. None of it is a secret. It's not a conspiracy. It's an industry. Taught in courses, printed in manuals, refined over decades, and A/B tested on millions of real people until it works with almost mechanical reliability. And that means the thing you've been quietly blaming yourself for, why do I always overspend? Why can't I just stick to the list? Was never a personal failing. You were one unarmed human, walking into a system built, tested, and paid for to beat you. Of course you lost. The game was rigged before you ever touched a cart. But here's the good news. And it's the one thing they can't design around. The entire machine only works in the dark. Every trick depends on one thing. You not noticing it. The flowers only soften you if you don't know why they're there. The slow music only works if it stays in the background. The empty cart only nags you if you never ask why it's so big. The moment you can see the design, the spell breaks. You'll clock the decompression zone and keep your pace. You'll see the milk at the back and cut straight to it. You'll hear the slow music and check a clock they never gave you. You'll look at the strike zone and glance up and glance down, where the real value hides. You walked in for 3 things. Next time, you might just walk out with 3 things. Now you can see the machine, so go beat it.